Welcome to Her Lights, your home for women's sports coverage. I'm your host, Erin Foley, a stand-up comic, TV writer, and most important, an obsessed sports fan. I break down the best games, highlight the best stories, and interview the best from the world of women's sports. So put on your jerseys, stretch out your hammies, and let's do this. Hello, Her Lighters. It's Erin Foley back in the booth talking women's sports. Happy December. It is Monday, December 1st. There are so much going on. I'm so excited to be back with you. There's been some starts and stops to Her Lights, and I will explain that shortly. We've got some really, I've got a great project I'm going to be plugging this week and next week and the following week. We will get to that very shortly. Just, man, there are so many sports to cover, and I am a nerd, and I'm so psyched to jump in all of this. We've got soccer, we've got volleyball, we've got hockey, we've got a great basketball game I'm going to watch this week, all kinds of good stuff. So let's get to it. Let's start with soccer. Just a huge shout out. I wasn't able to cover it last week, but Gotham takes the NWSL championship 1-0 victory over the Washington Spirit. Sellout crowd, PayPal Park in San Jose, and the one and only Rose Lavelle scores the only goal of the game in the 80th minute. This game could have gone either way. Although I have to say, I was really torn. I liked both teams. New York or Gotham FC deserved this one. They really just outplayed the Spirit in this final game. Both teams just stacked with talent. It was a really great soccer game. But start to finish, Gotham was in charge. And, when you're that competitive and when both teams are just so well matched and, they both had like all-star teams, it only takes sometimes one goal. And that was Rose Lavelle, 80th minute. Beautiful strike into top left-hand corner. She's named championship MVP. And how does she celebrate? With fireball shots on the field? Is it possible to love Rose Lavelle more? I don't think so. I'm not sure if I covered this, Her Lighters, but I went to the Players Ball in LA, courtesy of Sarah Spain. Thank you, Sarah Spain, and listened to her daily podcast, Good Game with Sarah Spain. And I wound up, having some gin and tonics and talking to Rose Lavelle briefly. I met her, and she's just so funny and quirky and wonderful as you think she is. And we randomly had a discussion about Cincinnati. So that was fun. So here's how impressive she is. Okay, so NWSL wraps up. Then they have, celebrations in New York. But then a day later, she's on a plane because the U.S. Women's National Team is wrapping up our last two friendlies against Italy. So the first game was Friday. And Emma Hayes was saying, she was going to, hold some of those Gotham and Spirit players back. And Roosevelt's like, no, put me in. So I'm watching the national team play on Friday with my leftovers, with my Thanksgiving leftovers. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. My God, do I love leftovers. Better than the original meal? Quite possibly. So I'm watching the national team just knee deep in just turkey and gravy and mashed potatoes. Oh God, it was just a slice of heaven. And Rose Lavelle hits the field and puts the ball in within the first minute. Beautiful pass to Olivia Moultrie, who scores within the first minute. So Rose Lavelle for the win. She wins the NWSL championship. Comes back a day later, has an incredible assist within the first minute of the national team game. And Moultrie sinks it in. And Moultrie, of course, coming off just a fantastic Portland Thorns season. So that was super fun. So the national team beats Italy on Friday. Caterina Macario scores a brace. That means 2 goals in the 64th and 76th minute. Beautiful goals. And I'm just going to say this. I have to admit it. Sometimes I'm like, Macario obviously is a tremendous player, but right before she scored 2 goals, I said this to myself, of course, because I'm watching it by myself. I said, I wonder what Macario's place is going to be when Triple Espresso comes back, when Rodman comes back, and Swanson and Sophia Smith, they're having babies. Because I don't know, is she good in the clutch? Can she score those goals when we absolutely need a goal to be scored? I said that like during halftime again to myself because I'm a total nerd, and she goes out and scores 2 goals. So you know what? I'm just going to enjoy Macario, and we'll see what happens. But I did say that out loud. Okay, two more points of soccer. NCAA women's collegiate soccer. This is it. We got the semis and finals. I don't know if you've been following this. I've just been sort of following it just based on scores. So this weekend, which is an incredible, just there's so many games going on. But collegiate soccer, this is phenomenal soccer. And the semifinals are going to be on Friday. Florida State takes on TCU. And the other game is Stanford versus Duke. Again, that is this Friday, November 5th. Collegiate championships, Florida State, TCU, Stanford versus Duke. And then the finals will be on Monday. And I'll cover that more for next Monday. But Women's College World Cup, or I guess it's Women's College Cup. I don't know why I threw world in there, but some humdingers of games. Yes, I will be bringing back humdinger. Okay, wrapping up the soccer, here's a piece of fantastic news. I have been working for the past 6 or 7 months on a 7 episode podcast series about the first U.S. women's national team, the 85ers. And it's coming out. It's coming out. The trailer drops on Thursday. The first 3 episodes are next week, and I'll cover this a little bit more next Monday. I'll give it its proper time and tell you some stories behind it, how it all came together. But I couldn't be more excited. And also, her letters, you've probably realized there's been some starts and stops in the last 6 months to this podcast. And it's because I have been working on that full time along with doing stand up. So it has been an incredible amount of work. But what an absolute honor and pleasure it has been to work on this series. The 85ers have not been recognized. They started the whole thing, they started this dynasty. Um, and so look out for that. I will put the trailer, a link to the trailer in the show notes. I think the official push is Thursday. Episodes drop next week. And again, next Monday, I will go into a little bit more detail. But yes, it's finally coming. It'll be finally out in December. Origin story, the 85ers. And oh my God. Okay, more details next Monday, but just so proud of all of it. And I'm just so thrilled to be part of that team producing that podcast series. Okay, so yes, NWSL wraps up. We've got another U.S. women's national team today at 4 o'clock. That was the last piece of information. We were playing Italy. It was our last friendly, U.S. women's national team last friendly against Italy today, Monday, December 1st. So check that out. Okay, we've got a pivot, and I'm so excited for this pivot because it is volleyball season. It is the most wonderful time of the year. What does that mean? I tell you what that means. It means NCAA Women's Volleyball Tournament. I call it December Madness. There is a bracket. Fill out the bracket, get into it. This is every year I lose my mind in December watching the women's volleyball championship. Oh my God. Okay. So yesterday they did the bracket. It was the announcement show. That's not what it's called, but you know what I mean, where they, reveal the volleyball reveal show. And we've got our top seeds. No surprises here. Nebraska, Kentucky, Texas, and Pittsburgh. Nebraska taking the #1 overall seed. They have been undefeated all season. They are an absolute powerhouse. Will they win? All the pressure is on them. The target is on their back. But wow, this is going to be so much fun. If you just take a quick look at the bracket, I've pulled it up right here to the right of my screen. It's going to be, oh my God. I'm just looking at these matchups. Like, listen, I'm projecting some of the top seeds not to get upset, but if some of these high seeds like don't get upset, we're looking at like a possible Nebraska Kansas showdown. We're looking at a possible Louisville, TCU, Louisville, Texas, and A&M showdown. That's on one side of the bracket. I mean, these brackets are stacked. The talent in these teams are so good. So Texas, perennial powerhouse, they're the #1 seed. But if they get through their first round, which obviously they should, it would be an insane upset. They're looking at Penn State, Penn State won the whole thing last year. So, and they're number 8 seed. So, again, like, oh God, this is nerdy excitement. And then if Texas gets all the way through, the number 2, Stanford in their bracket. So, I mean, would I love a Texas Stanford winner, take all to go into the finals? That would be absolutely epic. Well, to go into the Final Four. And then Pittsburgh, who I fell in love with last season, and I'll be cheering for them again. They have an incredible player, Babcock, who you need to watch immediately. I'm looking at them. They've got possible Xavier, Iowa State in their way. SMU is the 2 seed in that bracket. And then another loaded bracket is the Kentucky bracket. Kentucky's number 1. Potentially they play UCLA if they get through. And then if they get through that, they're looking at a possible USC. So they have to play some potentially back-to-back California schools who are always so good. And on the top of the bracket, Arizona State, you've got Tennessee, you've got Creighton in the 3 spot looking for an upset. Oh my God. I'm so excited. I can't stress to you enough to watch any game. Just pick a game. Doesn't even have to be a high seed. Just start watching the volleyball championships. Okay, so it's sort of done like March Madness, right? As I said, there's a bracket. It kicks off on Thursday. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I'll be covering it every single week and probably midweek too, because there's going to be so much action. Okay, a couple quick PWHL hockey stories. Just want to give a shout out. This is super feel good. The expansion teams were Vancouver and Seattle, who I highlighted a couple weeks ago. And they had their openers, their home openers, and they absolutely crushed it. This is so feel good. The Vancouver, now they're going to set this up as Vancouver, Seattle is going to be like, the rivalries, one of the rivalries, which I absolutely love. Okay, so Vancouver hosts Seattle. This was last Saturday. We're talking 14,958. It's a sellout in Vancouver. Vancouver wins 4-3 in overtime. I mean, the clips, like go online and do yourself a favor and just watch some of the clips and watch the stands and watch how they present. Like Vancouver comes out on the ice, and everyone's just losing their minds. I just got absolute chills. Abby Boreen, who's just oh God, she's such an amazing hockey player. She does the game-winning goal. It's just, yeah, it was super feel good. And then Seattle, of course, just I think you have to argue top 3 women's sports cities. They'll probably say they're the number 1 women's sports city. But I mean, they're obviously just a tremendous, tremendous city for women's sports. They're the other, expansion team, the Seattle Torrent. Home debut, 16,014. It's a record U.S. attendance for women's pro hockey. This is their home opener. Unfortunately, they lost to Minnesota. But I mean, again, just unbelievable. Like just record breaking, over 15,000 in Vancouver, over 16,000 in Seattle. And the big talk here on the PWHL hockey fans is they can't expand fast enough. Rumor has it they're trying to add 2 more teams for next season. Maybe Detroit, Chicago, Calgary, Pittsburgh. These are the cities that are kind of being tossed around. Their takeover tour, which was last season, kind of opened up their minds to the Seattle and Vancouver, possibly Denver in the mix. So they're doing another takeover tour, and wherever they go, I'll make sure I cover it and put it in the show notes. So hopefully, if you don't, you can go to one of those games if you don't live in one of the 6 cities that are that make up the PWHL now. But it's really going to be an incredible season. I mean, look at the kickoff in Seattle and Vancouver. So if you're a hockey fan, obviously you're absolutely delighted. If you're not, all the games are on YouTube or pwhl.com. It's got all the information. I'll link into the show notes. Get into it. Get into the hockey. Rounding out the coverage, we've got softball. We've got the Athletes Unlimited Softball League expansion and allocation draft. Okay, so in the offseason, they added 2 more teams. They added the Oklahoma City Spark and the Cascade bringing the total number of teams to 6. Talons, Bandits, Blaze, Volts, then the Spark, and the Cascade. Now, softball fans or new fans, we're going to get more and more information. They're going to have actual permanent homes for these teams. So this is kind of like a slow rollout, but today they're doing the draft. Let me just explain very quickly how this works. Tune in today, ESPN University. The 2 expansion teams, they'll pick first. We saw this similar to how the WNBA expansion team draft worked. The teams that are already in the league, Talons, Bandits, Blaze, and Volts, they can only protect 5 players. So the 2 expansion teams get their picks of the unprotected players on the existing teams. Then the whole draft starts for all 6 teams. There's a pool of players they can choose from. I'm not explaining this completely clear, but just know that the expansion teams, they grab the existing players that were unprotected on the 4 teams, the Talons, Bandits, Blaze, and Volts, and then all 6 teams draft players from a pool of existing players. So what I'm saying is this. This is an exciting time for softball. I realize I probably should have, just reviewed how the draft works, but essentially, you know what I'm talking about. What's so exciting about this is, again, we see this in baseball, women's baseball. We see this in women's softball. These are the early stages of putting these leagues together, right? And there's going to be now permanent cities for these softball teams. So it's just in real time, we're seeing the evolution of these leagues, which is so exciting, right? So again, if you're a nerdy softball fan, tune in for the draft today. I will be watching the draft, but just know that all of these things are methodically being put in place. So next summer, when the season kicks off, there'll be permanent teams. There'll be mascots. The draft will be done. You'll get to see the players and the coaches, and it's really coming together slowly but surely. So anyway, that's the nerdy, fun, exciting excitement behind all of that. Okay, let's review and give you a couple of points, a couple of things to look forward for this week. Today, Monday, December 1st, you've got the softball draft and you've got the U.S. Women's National Team playing Italy. Volleyball, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, fill out your bracket, pick your teams, get into it. It's going to be nonstop, incredible action. Women's college soccer, women's college soccer, the Cup set for this weekend in Kansas City, CPKC Stadium. This Friday, December 5th, Florida State, TCU, Stanford, Duke. And if you're a women's college basketball fan, I picked out one game for you. UNC plays Texas on Thursday, November 4th. Texas jumped up to the number 2 seed in the country after they beat UCLA and they beat South Carolina last week in a Thanksgiving tournament in Las Vegas. Those games were incredible. So if you like basketball, boom, UNC Texas on Thursday. You've got volleyball. You've got college soccer. You've got national team soccer. You've got a softball draft. I mean, I'm delighted. This was, I could have literally covered another 4 sports. Anyway, there we go. Happy Monday, happy December. More and more Herlights coming. We've got more interviews in the books lined up, so look for that. Just happy watching, everybody. Fans, friends, family. Have the best week of your life.